All right, welcome students to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is going to be possibly your sort of first new quote unquote material. So you're looking at logarithms and exponential functions, which for some of you might be familiar, for some of you not. It is a relatively short chapter, it's just 5 sections, but there's a lot in there that you really have to make sure that you have down. So once again, you have that same design in terms of what's inside this chapter, and looking at sort of your course goals or your chapter goals. What you really want to be able to do is graph exponential and logarithmic functions. So given an equation, this is really more of a non-calculator type of thing. Can you graph an exponential and a logarithm by hand? Next, apply properties of logarithms so that you can condense or expand. So using the different properties in order to rewrite logarithms in different ways, which would help you solve later on. And then speaking of that, solving exponential and logarithmic equations. So again, there's 2 different types and 2 different processes that you're going to take here, depending on if it's exponential or logarithmic. But you really need to be able to solve an exponential equation and solve a logarithmic equation. And then last, applying exponential and logarithmic functions to model scenarios. So these first 3 objectives, that's really like the nuts and bolts of this chapter. It's the how-tos, it's the processes that you need to take. And then that last one is really applying it. So this is when you're going to be talking about like word problems. It's talking about how are we going to use these things in the real world? How do they actually apply to us? So definitely make sure that you could get that down. But in order to do it, you have to really have a good understanding of what does the graph of an exponential and logarithmic look like? How can I rewrite them, and how can I solve them after rewriting them?